Hi, welcome to our first episode of Beyond My Crisis. I'm your co-host, Ron Rossnick.
And I'm Vivian Gaspar, here to help you understand how not to stop a crisis, but move forward beyond the crisis that you've already encountered. And we have some exceptional guests on how to accomplish this. And today we're very fortunate to have with us Jim Cullum, a hypnotist consultant. Jim, welcome to our show and help us understand how the power of the human mind can do so many things to propel people past the crises they've encountered already.
The human mind is very, very powerful. It can do amazing things. If you think about it, we were born. We started off as a little egg that grew into this wonderful body, and everything knew exactly where to go. The eyes here, the mouth here, the knees here. Everything was perfectly formed by the power of the human body from the mind. Your mind is exceptionally powerful. It can do so many things. In fact, they say that the subconscious mind is the most powerful driving force in the universe.
Wow. So when we think of hypnosis, and our audience may think hypnosis is that old concept of holding a watch, do you
wait, does he have this mysterious watch?
No.
He does. He has the watch.
I haven't used it in about 20 years, but we do have the watch. Most people have that misconception that that's what hypnosis is.
So wait a second. Did you just say you haven't used the watch in 20 years? How long have you been doing hypnosis?
32.
32 years. How long has hypnosis been around?
Oh, thousands of years,
Okay,
actually.
so modern hypnosis is not like those TV shows where people are clucking like a chicken. Modern hypnosis for a professional like yourself is to achieve what? What do you try to achieve for people?
We get people over the bump. We get them unstuck from where they are with whatever it might be, whether somebody wants to stop smoking, or they have a habit they want to eliminate, fears of flying, things such as that. Study and recall, people who want to pass exams. I've worked with lawyers to pass the bar exam. There are so many areas that you can improve when you use this computer that's built into your own mind.
So would depression be a subject matter that you can help people with?
Well, it would be, but I'm not a therapist. I don't do therapy. So I have a scope of limitation that I must focus in. I mean, I am a licensed healthcare professional for over 40 years, but I am not a therapist. I don't do therapy.
So I would like to ask you, I heard that you can do some very powerful things. We all know the mind controls everything. And I personally believe there's way too many drugs being implemented. As a healthcare professional, what is it something that the average person would be very shocked to find out that you could do through hypnosis that people otherwise control with drugs?
Well, pain control, for instance.
Pain control, how?
Well, I've worked with several physicians over the years. I've taught in a hospital for 22 years. And we teach people to do self-hypnosis, and there are specific techniques that we also teach them to help control certain types of pain.
So what about, I think we talked earlier, that you can actually help women going into labor, and someone who's been a nurse for a long time, I think that's amazing. I personally have been in labor 3 times, so how could I have benefited from this if I had known you sooner?
Well, hypnosis is actually similar to Lamaze. One of our members of our association was an ASPO Lamaze instructor. He taught nurses how to teach the Lamaze program to expecting women. And when you follow the instructor's manual, hypnosis and Lamaze, right up to a certain point, are identical. And that point is where Lamaze has you focus on an external object, maybe a light switch on the wall. Hypnosis has you focus within using imagery.
Now, you had told us before that you can control when you have the contractions. You gave us a great story recently that you helped the woman to not get the contractions as much until she got to the hospital, then speed them up. Tell us about that, please.
Well, basically, besides the pain control, Using imagery again, you have control over the contractions. You can speed them up, you can slow them down. So many women on the way to the hospital would slow them down so they arrive comfortably and get there. Once they're in the labor room, then they would speed them up, because I don't think there are too many women that I've ever met that want to spend hours and hours in the labor room.
So people in general are actually employing some form of hypnosis in their daily lives by practicing a mantra or saying certain words to themselves. Is that the case that you find?
We go through periods of hypnosis dozens of times every day. The two-word definition is focused concentration. When you focus all your attention in one area and block out all the distraction, you're in a state of hypnosis.
How about the subconscious mind? This morning, I was on my way here driving, and I found I needed to make a detour to get gas, and the gas station was a little bit more north. I normally go one direction. I had to turn around. So was that auto driving, that your autopilot is type of self-hypnosis?
Well, it's kind of like that. You're usually driving to a familiar destination. Your mind's on a thought. Maybe what you're having for dinner tonight, or you're taking a trip on the weekend, you're thinking about the trip, and when you arrive at your destination, you'll say, you know, I don't remember driving the last half a mile. The car got me here in automatic pilot. Or another example might be when you were in school. Someone who never opened a book, but always got above 90 on a test. That was a child who sat in the classroom and was so focused on the information being presented by the teacher, it went right into their long-term memory, which is in the subconscious. When they got home, they knew it. They knew it. Why waste time studying? I already know this stuff. And they did exceptionally on the test.
Right. I've seen some TV shows where they have an actor switch personalities as a form of like changing their personality type. So hypnosis kind of connects with your personality, with who you are, and can shift how you observe the world, how you perceive the world, how you perceive yourself, and how you react to it.
Exactly. The one thing you need with hypnosis, you need to either need it or want it. I can't make you do anything you don't want to do in hypnosis.
Right, so that's important. You can't do what you don't want to do. How many people are capable of receiving the suggestions of hypnosis?
Most people are hypnotizable to some degree. Children under the age of 7 or 8 are very difficult because their mind is all over the place. They're not focused. And the geriatric, sort of senile, maybe dementia, borderline person, they're also difficult because they also do not follow along in a conversation well. But in the wide spectrum in the middle there, most people are hypnotizable.
So most people are hypnotizable, but the problem I feel is that there's a gap between people who believe in hypnosis and people who don't believe in hypnosis. I think a lot of our audience may be interested to know how hypnosis can really work. And today, we're going to introduce a guest on the show, which is one of your clients that you've done one hypnosis session with?
So far, one session, yes.
Okay. And what was the goal for this session?
Well, her parents brought her to see me because she had a severe stuttering problem. When she first came in, it was very difficult to understand her. I could make out about 50% of what she was saying, and her mother was very helpful to help me understand the rest. We worked with her for one session, and the results were very impressive.
And how long does that session last for that individual?
Well, a first session with somebody is normally about an hour and a half, and then the hypnosis needs reinforcement. So what I normally do is teach my clients to do self-hypnosis so they can practice at home and maintain the level that we've achieved in the office.
Now I need to add in that I had seen you, and the reason I've asked you to come onto the show is I've experienced your skills firsthand. I just had seen you about 2 weeks ago, just under 2 weeks ago, on a Sunday. 2 days later, I had 3 cavities filled. I had a pretty good amount of dental work done, and I did employ your suggestions of self-hypnosis, and I really was able to manage where I did not have any pain or discomfort during that amount. It was about an hour in the dentist chair. So from my own perspective, that's why I asked you to come here, because I thought that was phenomenal.
So the key to hypnosis is continuing it with self-hypnosis, reinforcing what you learn. So an individual can perform self-hypnosis on themselves to get a result that they want to achieve.
Yes, most hypnosis is self-hypnosis.
Okay, got it.
I don't have control over you. You have the control. I'm showing you how to access it.
Okay.
And I think it would be important to say that did I see you for the purpose of dental relaxation?
No, not at all.
No, but I changed it up for that. I saw you for something completely unrelated.
I had a case actually very similar to what you're talking about. I saw a young man about a year ago for study and recall to help him pass his test. He was a very nervous test taker. And his mother's a teacher, so naturally even more so concerned that he does well. I worked with him for that. He aced his exams. His mother was very happy about that. A few months went by, and my wife and I were away on vacation. I came back, and it was a message for me from this young man that he had gone on a trip. He had gone on a bike ride. I was on the trip. He went on a bike ride, and he was hit by a car. And he was so panicked when he was laying in the street bleeding. He was very upset and nervous. He didn't know what to do, and he was afraid. So he hypnotized himself because he said he felt safe and comfortable there. When he got to the hospital, they had to do emergency surgery on him for the bleeding that was occurring. And the doctor told his family later that he doesn't know exactly how the boy stayed so calm and relaxed, but there was a good chance that he could have bled out if he did not do that because the injury was serious enough.
So hypnosis, in effect, saved his life.
Yes.
We're talking about
Wow.
blood. That's definitely.
So this is something that pretty much everybody should want to learn about. Would you be able to do a demonstration for us today?
Yes, I can.
Live on camera.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So you have your client here. Can we
Yes, I
bring
do.
her on set?
Sure.
Okay. Help her with that mic.
Here we go.
Sure.
Just
Great.
bring that around. Thank you very much for joining us and assisting us on demonstrating Jim's abilities and what hypnosis can do for people.
So, but how do you feel about being on camera today?
Good,
You're a little nervous, huh?
I suppose.
And what do you do generally? What do you do daily?
Go to school.
Go to school. Okay.
Okay,
So
she's
I
here
ha-
with her mom's consent that she can be filmed, and with her consent as well. She's happy to do it because she's happy with her
I would
progress.
love to ask this one question, if I may interject. Do you find that hypnosis has been any kind of a barrier to getting something you wanted? Did you ever want to get a job and you think something, the stuttering rather, I meant to say, the stuttering was a barrier in helping you get like a job or anything else you wanted?
It has not come up too much yet, but I feel that it would be a barrier for employers to hire me in the future.
Right. I've heard you before, and you had stuttered so much. We're going to do a cut-in of an audio track for you to hear what you sounded like before that one session. But do you remember how much you stuttered, or is that something you can't really recall at this point? Do you remember how you spoke before? Have you watched any videos of yourself?
I
If you,
Have you seen yourself stutter in the past?
on video sometimes,
Yeah.
and I feel so embarrassed.
You feel embarrassed about the stuttering, and do you think there's other people that could benefit from this type of treatment?
Yes, I've heard that there are many other people, Americans, who stutter.
According to a Google search we did last night, there were about 3,000 people in the United States that
3
stutter.
million.
3 million,
3
thank you.
million.
Okay, 3,000 that could be helped right now. 3 million is our ultimate goal. So
Well,
3
no, it's 3
million
million throughout the United States.
Wow, 3 million people stutter.
How old are you?
15.
And do you remember when approximately you started stuttering or when it was told you? Did you have speech therapy?
I do not recall exactly when I started stuttering, but I've had therapy since first grade,
So, and you're what grade now?
10th.
So from first grade to 10th grade, you've had speech therapy.
So that's 9 years of speech therapy. Has speech therapy helped you?
I feel it has, at least in recent years, I feel it has started to. Well,
In recent years. And do they do anything that helps you with like hypnosis, or do they
No.
employ any of that? Okay. What do they do generally in speech therapy?
Just different games and exercises.
Okay,
I
games
think.
and exercises to practice. Okay, what do you think, Vivian? You want to give this a go?
Well,
I don't hear her stuttering that much.
well,
You sound
I think-
so much better than I recall you speaking a couple of weeks ago, before that one session.
I think
So-
this is incredible
Yeah.
because the one session, and perhaps it's also that never having been on TV before, maybe the deliberate, slow speech has something to do with it. Jim, when you met her, you heard her speak, right?
She was speaking a mile a minute. She was very, very rapid and tripping over the words as they came out.
And with the stuttering,
yes.
very pronounced.
Like this.
Yes,
Something like that.
and that's like a mind that's running at a high pace. Like usually
Exactly.
highly intelligent people have the proclivity to stutter. Right?
Do you think that would be you, Rachel? Do you have good grades at schools?
Yes.
How are you? How do you do at school?
Well,
What was
How
your
well?
GPA last year?
3.9.
3.9. Okay. And what's your favorite subject?
You pick one if you have several.
I enjoy design and creative writing.
Okay. Okay.
What do you want to be when you grow up? You want to go to
An
college?
anthropologist.
Anything specific in anthropology?
A professor.
Ah, so
Professor.
you might need to speak to be a professor.
Right.
That might be helpful to teach.
So, I'd like the audience to see what a quick session of hypnosis would be like. Can we
There
give
are
it a shot?
1,000 different ways to put someone in that state,
Mhm.
and we're going to work with a very simple technique right now. So would you kindly clasp your hands together tightly, firmly, feel it, blanch the knuckles a little bit there, and then spread the first fingers of both hands apart. Keep your thumbs crossed.
Now, before you completely get, if I did this, is something going to happen to me? If I kind of followed you along, if the audience tries to do this, what happens to them?
It might.
What would it do?
It might.
Okay,
It would
so let's try
put you
it
in a
together.
very relaxed state. But keep in mind, this is a more rapid technique, and I've worked with a different technique initially with this young lady,
Okay.
and then we just use a faster technique to get right to where we need to be, and we don't need to spend all the time to
Right.
get you there
So
slowly.
there's definitely a science behind this. This is not like
It's an art and a science.
art and a science. Okay.
Exactly. So take and spread those first two fingers, and regardless of how hard you try, I want you to focus on them with all your attention. Regardless of how hard you try, they're going to eventually close. They will touch, and you may try to keep them apart, but the minute they do touch, your hands begin to melt right into your lap, just folding right into your lap, your fingers becoming soft and comfortable, and just melting apart, and your whole body begins to relax. Your entire body becoming smooth, soft, and comfortable. And at this time, I'd like you to imagine that you are standing in front of a large wooden door. In a moment, I'll ask you to open this door, and when you do, you're going to step into a very safe, comfortable place. It's a place where you can go to get away, to be miles away from all cares and concerns. It could be a deserted beach on a faraway island. It might be a comfortable room in your own home. Anywhere at all where you feel safe and comfortable. So become aware as you reach out with your hand and grasp the doorknob, slowly turning it until you hear the lock catch. And now open the door and step into this wonderful place as if you were actually there right now, so that you can enjoy the sights, the sounds, the smells, the colors, all the comfortable feelings associated with this very special place. And find a spot, anywhere at all where you can sit back or lie back, as if you could spend the entire afternoon relaxing in this wonderful place, feeling the safety, feeling the comfort, feeling the relaxation. And as you're relaxing here comfortably, become aware that your brain is a very powerful computer. And it can process information faster than you can write it, faster than you can speak it. But when it's time for you to speak, anytime, anywhere at all, you allow yourself to feel the relaxation, the comfort, and you allow the information to come down from your mind and through your mouth, flowing comfortably, safely, so that you are very articulate and you enunciate your words clearly and comfortably, so that you speak exactly the way you've been taught to speak over the years, speaking clearly, comfortably, and at an adequate pace to enjoy the conversation. And anytime you feel yourself becoming a little fast, you can simply touch the first finger and thumb of your left hand together and form that little OK circle. And that will just slow you down a bit so that everything comes out clearly, everything comes out comfortably, and your words are easily understood, and you feel good about that difference. Now I'm going to count from 1 to 3. On the count of 3, you'll open your eyes, awake and alert, feeling good, relaxed and comfortable. 1, coming up and up and up. Number 2, becoming more awake and alert. And number 3, allowing your eyes to begin to open, coming back into the present time, the present place, feeling really good. Welcome back. And can you share with us where you went when you opened that door?
I went to my grandparents' house.
Very nice. Very, very nice. Relax and you had an enjoyable time.
Is there anything that you could advise other kids or even adults about what you experienced? Do you feel safe?
Yes, I'm relaxed.
Do you feel there was any influence that you felt uncomfortable at any point of time?
No.
No.
What would you say to people who might fear hypnosis, that they think it's some type of mind control? Do you feel that way?
I would say that sounds frankly kind of ridiculous, but
It sounds ridiculous. And I noticed something about how you did it. You used words that were always positive and affirmation, no negatives. Like I hear sometimes parents saying, don't touch that, don't go there, don't do this, don't play with that toy. And in my view, those don'ts should not be part of the vocabulary. It's tell your child what they should do. So you tell your client what they should do, not what they shouldn't do.
Exactly. You ask for what you want, not what you don't want. We've known this in hypnosis for over 200 years, not me personally, but for 200 years you've known to never give a negative suggestion, because when you do, you get the opposite of what you're looking for.
Right, so the subconscious mind has a way of filtering out the negative and leaving the positive. It's kind of like what The Secret talks about. What is the
yeah.
the technique is called?
Yeah, the affirmations.
Positive affirmations?
Not positive, something about putting your mind forward, speaking the language of
the
your
present, as if the future is your present
Right.
tense. Is
Well,
that what you mean?
Well, doing it without the negative. You have to ask for what you want. When you ask for what you don't want, that's exactly
Yes.
what you get, what you don't want.
right.
So when you're afraid, so let's say there's a lot of people in financial crisis. Let's face it, unfortunately, most crises fall into not having enough money. So when people focus on, I don't have enough, I can't buy that today.
You get
It's-
more of what you ask for.
Right.
And when you're saying I don't have enough, you're convincing yourself that you really do not have enough, and you will do everything in your power to ensure that you don't have enough. You'll make the wrong decisions. You'll be in the wrong place at the right time.
Right. So something our audience can start doing is start using language that promotes a positive result, like neurolinguistic programming has
Exactly.
that type of effect.
Exactly. You do get what you ask for, and it's amazing because probably the worst thing that ever happened to me, I broke my neck 8 years ago, story for another time, but I had a few friends that said, I'm going to pray for you. I said, please Just ask for good health. That's all I want you to say, because they're always throwing the negative in about he will not and he will not. And then you get the opposite. So I was very specific about that.
So I think one of the goals would be get people to speak positively to each other, to family members, to their friends, to their colleagues, bosses, to their employees, and we will have a more productive, more happy environment.
And for the people who've had, so all the people who've had divorce or heartache and heartbreak, for those people, I'd like to mention that you have written a book about it, but really going back to positive, that has to do with positive. And really, I think that it's important to mention, if the people are focused, oh, I can't have a good relationship, they're not going to have good relationships. Instead, they just have to look beyond that and say, what, next time it'll be better? What should they say?
They should say, what can I do starting right now? The past is over. There's only one real time, it's the present. The future hasn't come yet. The past, it's gone. There's nothing we can change at this point.
Is there really present then? It's always the future. 2 seconds ago is the past.
Well, but
Living
right
in the moment
now,
is important.
Exactly.
So
right
speaking
now is the only
positively.
time we can do what we can do. And you ask, like I said, you ask for what you want, and you say, what can I do at this time to make this better the next time? Because it's the things you do today that will set the stage for tomorrow.
Let's ask our young lady here. How do you feel this experience was for you, not just today, but in general? Do you believe that hypnosis is something that has helped you more than the speech therapy, or is it going to help you going forward?
I feel it has benefited me to help with my speech.
So you could do, how do you think that'll help you with the rest of your life?
I feel it will help me to achieve more.
When you speak more fluently, right?
Well, thank you so much, Jim. That was a great demonstration. I really appreciate it. I want to see more. I want to experience it too. So I'm now an open mind for suggestibility in a positive way.
You are in control. It's your computer. You get to call the shots. It's just learning how to use it. It's like riding a bicycle. That bicycle is a great tool to get you from point A to point B, but you first have to learn how to balance and then pedal and then take it wherever you want
Right,
to go.
and the belief that you can do it is probably the most significant thought to have if you want to achieve something, to believe, to have hope that you can.
Belief is very important, but hypnosis technically is not something that you must believe in. It's, like I said, we do it naturally dozens of times every day. We focus our attention on something and we block everything out, and we don't know sometimes how we've done it. You're maybe preparing a meal at the kitchen counter, and you'll see a spot or two of blood, and you'll say, where did that come from? And you look at, oh wow, it's me. And you cut yourself and you didn't even realize it because you were so focused on what you were doing or the thought that was in your mind, and you didn't even realize that you cut yourself.
Well, I definitely think the only way to transform your life is just being a lot more positive. It really what it boils down to, because it's all the energy, right? More positive thoughts, being positive energy and positive outcomes. And people don't realize if you've been stuck in negative patterns for a very long time, it has to do with your thought process subconsciously and consciously are going to yield those constant results, correct?
Exactly. We believe that you are what you think.
So
And
let's
thoughts
start.
manifest themselves.
Yeah, and let's
Exactly.
start doing things that move us forward to make our lives great, abundance, joyful, happy, spirited. Even in the worst of situations, there's still something that we can do with our minds to get it right on track.
And that is how you get beyond your crisis.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on, both of you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.